Going to, first of all, equip them with the information they need to know about what they can say and what they cannot say in the church that would violate their 501c3 status with the IRS. In fact, we're going to have the IRS administrator there. We're going to have the Attorney General, Eric Holder, there. We're going to have the lawyers organization from around the country, the ACLU, all giving ministers guidance on what they can and cannot do.
Well, Benedict the 16th made history by being the first Roman pontiff, the first pope to resign while he's alive in over 600 years. And then history was made again when the College of Cardinals elected who is now Pope Francis, the first pope to ever come from the Western Hemisphere and the first Jesuit pope. Timed Man of the Year. And I think the jury is still out on him. I do. But he's causing a lot of waves. Still has not moved into the papal apartments. He knows that there is severe corruption inside of the Vatican, both economic and sexual, and he is trying to deal with it. So what we have to see is how it all plays out. I am not, unfortunately, I'm not hopeful. And I'm going to tell you why. The story behind the story. Number one, the Roman Catholic leadership, at least in America, and in other Western European nations, but I'll focus on America, has utterly failed, with a few notable exceptions, has failed utterly to deal with renegade Catholics like Vice President Biden and House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, just to name two. People who go to Mass, their hands drenched with the blood of innocent babies who their policies have murdered. And then they hold out those hands to receive the body and blood of Christ. This is sacrilege. This, by any definition, whether you're Protestant or Catholic, you have to acknowledge this is sacrilege to allow people who are participating in murder to come to Holy Communion. And it's worse than that still. You've got people like Archbishop Dolan in New York who are chumming around with Obama. Would you invite Herod? Would you go to a dinner that honored Herod? Or would you laugh with Herod after he murdered the babies of Bethlehem as he sought to kill the Christ child? So I ask to these bishops, would you serve Herod communion? After he killed the babies? If he was coming with his hands stained with the blood of those innocent victims of Bethlehem, would you serve him communion? This is such a scandal. It boggles the mind. And yet it continues unabated in America. But it just got even worse. And that's why I'm so sad and grieved. And I'm trying to maintain hope, but it's hard. I'll give you a little bit of understanding of how the politics of the creation of bishops happens in the Roman Catholic Church. There's a group of bishops in an area that will submit 3 names to the papal nuncio in a country, who gives them to Rome and says, these 3 priests might be, any one of them might be a good bishop. Then in Rome, there's a body of men called the Congregation of Bishops who look at the list and make a recommendation to the Pope. Because ultimately, if my understanding is correct, it's the Pope who says, yes, this priest we want to become a bishop. Well, you might have heard and remembered the name of Archbishop Burke, Raymond Burke. When he was in St. Louis, he forbid baby-killing politicians to take communion. He was the odd man out. Boy, did he cause controversy and strain with the American Catholic bishops. So he was then taken to Rome, made a cardinal, and put over, I can't remember what he does. Please forgive me. But I got a great interview with him once when I went to Rome. I actually interviewed him and talked to him about this scandal. Well, he was on this congregation of bishops that gets to choose who is recommended to the Pope. We just learned, 2-3 weeks ago, that he was removed from that congregation of bishops. He can no longer give a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And in his place, Cardinal Wuerl of Washington, D.C., the Archbishop of Washington, D.C., who is one of the most guilty bishops in America regarding this thing of serving communion to baby killers, because they're all right there. These baby-killing Democrat and Republican Catholics who, all over the country for that matter, but they're in Washington, D.C., and they're going to the various Catholic churches there, and they're receiving communion, and not a peep comes from Archbishop Wuerl's lips to tell them, this is wrong, you need to repent, don't present yourself for communion as long as this is going on. So, whether you're Protestant or Catholic, my simple encouragement to you is to tell the religious leaders of your denomination that if they know that someone promotes the murder of babies or the attack on marriage from the homosexual agenda, to forbid them from receiving communion. And I think that the Lord would be happy with that. Do it with a good attitude, but I think it would make the Lord happy. And it's a part of us standing up for our faith and for the innocent and for marriage.